Hey guys, I'm Tom Paton. I'm the writer-director of Pandorica, the upcoming feature film due out this April. Pandorica is a post-apocalyptic movie set in a future where humanity's almost reset itself. You know, we're like living as if it's the Dark Ages again, but the remnants of the old world are all around still. And the film deals with some issues of leadership, you know, what makes a good leader, what makes a bad leader. And it's all about the trial of this tribe, the Varosha, and how they pick their new leader from a batch of hopeful candidates by taking them off to a deep, dark forest. And suffice to say, another tribe gets involved and all hell breaks loose. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting mashup of science fiction and horror and thriller. So I think there's a lot in there for everybody, really. I think the independent film world is in a very strange place at the moment, because we used to 10, 20 years ago get these sort of $5 million and $10 million movies that were sort of those cool linchpin independent movies that were at the time fairly easy to finance because they would make money and they would go on to have an amazing sequel and an amazing third film, and we'd get these bigger franchises. You know, and you'd have that alongside the big Hollywood blockbusters, which we've always had and we're always going to have. That's not really going to change. What has changed though is that in the independent film world, the price has been driven really far down, and so we have to make a decision, you know, because the reality is that the gap between indie films and Hollywood movies has become pretty wide, and so we're having to find a way to bridge that, because Hollywood is still looking for that next big franchise. They still want these IPs that have been created, that are interesting and that have an audience. It's just that a lot of filmmakers are struggling to be able to pull off their vision. And I hope that Pandorica can be a footnote in the change towards where we go, because I think that technology has allowed us to democratize film in a big degree, because now all you need is a relatively cheap camera like the one we're shooting on today, or, you know, a good script and a good vision and, you know, a group of friends that are committed to it. And you have to be making something that other people want to see. You know, just because it's low budget doesn't mean it has to be purely for you to scratch an artistic whim. You know, it can be made for a large audience, and in this day and age where the tech is so readily available, you can make a film that is appealing to a wide audience. And I think that's really important, because that's going to help us bridge the gap between these small films that are sub $200,000 and the big boys, you know. And to be honest, I think the big boys are watching. I think they're looking at us and they're looking for these films, they're looking for these franchises. And I really feel that in the independent film world right now should be focusing on how do we use technology and how do we use the upcoming talent, these sort of 21-year-olds that are making incredible stuff on YouTube, and how do we utilize that to tell better stories more cost effectively? Because ultimately I feel like if we don't, we're going to miss out on some really, really cool stuff, and that would be a shame. I think video on demand is the future of independent movies, because it's an incredible tool to take your product out to an audience and say, hey, look how cool this thing is. You know, and we've never had that before. It was never a possibility. You know, if you go back in time 20 years as a filmmaker, if you didn't have the backing of a studio, your only real hope for finding an audience was to tour around quite expensive film festivals, hope that you get in, hope to God that somebody's sitting in the audience that responds to your movie and feels that a big audience is going to like it, and then hope that they're going to spend all this money on marketing and advertising. But we don't live in that day and age anymore, and I think that's incredible, because VOD has allowed us to build our own audience, reach out to them socially, very cheaply, very effectively, you know, and get that audience engaging in what you're doing as well. And VOD also gives filmmakers the one thing that we've lacked for since film started, really, and that is the ability to be the ones that earn the lion's share of the revenue. Something like Vimeo on demand, which we've used as the platform to launch Pandorica here in the UK with, I think is an incredible tool, because it allows you to load your film to the site and you get most of the profits. If you've put that hard work in, then you're the one who's receiving that profit, and I think that's incredible. So for me, VOD is the most important aspect of film as we move forward, and I don't think it will ever fully replace theatrical, and I don't think it's going to completely change the way that we consume movies, but I think it's going to make movies more accessible to everybody all over the world. And that's incredible. For us as indie filmmakers to be able to make a film and find an audience and not have to go through the rigmarole of trying to get it inside the system is amazing. I think Pandorica's got a real opportunity to be a footnote, almost like a Bible to some degree for independent filmmakers coming through, because what we did with this movie and over at the film label in terms of marketing and distribution was to treat it like an independent record label will treat an independent record release, in that, you know, we almost circumnavigated the studio system, but we've ended up with very similar results. Pandorica is in cinemas, touring the whole country, and we haven't four-walled those events either. It's not like we paid for those screens. Like, we are legitimately in cinemas, which is an incredible achievement. We're on Blu-ray and DVD. We're on VOD. So whether you're the kind of person that's like, I need to see a film on a big screen, or whether you're like, hey, I'm just cool watching a film on the train on the way to work, then we've managed to cover all those bases, and we've done it in such a way that I don't think has ever been done before. The movie itself was only written 10 months ago, and then it went into production 4 months after that. And here we are at the 11-month mark by the time it releases, saying we've done it. You know, we've got it in cinemas, we've got it on Blu-ray and DVD, we've got it out there to an audience, to a world, and we've done it by using a model that the film industry hasn't adopted before. And I think that's really innovative, and I think that other filmmakers hopefully are going to go out and say, hey, this is how we should be doing it too. So I think Pandorica has got the opportunity to be very influential.